time, Black Bentley, and she started putting porno music on while Maxwell. I'm down on the floor. He's down on the floor licking toes, and she's like squishing his face with her feet and stuff.
Yeah, it was Jackham's. His girlfriend's like putting her toes in my mouth. I'm sucking her toes.
He's laying flat. Now, at first, she's making these faces like, ew, God, ooh, this. And Hazmat's getting a kick out of this, right? Because he's looking at him like, all right, you know, ooh, this is great, because she's thinking it's disgusting.
Right, he's like, get into it, bro, get into it.
Yeah, so actually, Maxwell starts to get into it, and then guess what happens? Well, she starts to get into it. Now at this point, he's starting to get pissed.
Got turned.
Now she wants to suck my dick too.
Yeah, because now we're looking at the first hour of the show, and he said no commercials, right? So I'm like, okay. I was like, and Bentley's over here going, break, you know, commercial. I'm like, cut him out, cut him out. And he's going, no, put commercials in. Because during the show, she said, talking about, she goes, yeah, she goes, maybe I can like suck your dick then too. He's, oh.
Yeah, that was right at the point when she was like, well, you still want your dick sucked?
Yeah, I'll do it.
And I was like, okay. And then that's when Hazmat was like, go to commercial. Yeah.
I was like, well, you bought the condoms, let him use them.
On the way home, he's like, I don't know, man. Some other guy's sticking his shaft in my girl. I don't know if I like that. You dumb motherfucker, you brought her in here.
And needless to say, after that, Hazmat didn't really come back around anymore.
Actually, that was his last show,
That was one of his last shows, yeah. That was the last show, yeah.
Well, that first time.
Yeah, first time.
Then he hooked up with fucking Xanaxahor.
Then he come back here, and we actually had a board up here that...
Xanaxahor. That's what that was the name we should have given her. Yeah. Sounds like a villain. Xanaxahor.
Yeah, this girl, she was coming in, she was like...
put her animated, right?
We met her dad over at Lola's, and he was the general manager of this whole area.
Well, he was like, over there getting book of matches.
Yeah,
probably was.
Probably was. Cigarettes, matches. And he's like, hey, you guys own the radio station? I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, I've got my daughter. She's not working. She's not doing anything. Could you give her? I said, yeah, we'll do an internship. We'll teach her how to do something. Well, that's cool because she needs to learn something in life. I'm like, all right. So we get her over here, and first couple weeks she starts working out. It's pretty good. And we're like, wow, this is decent. You know, and teaching her along and everything. I think it was like, what, the second week?
Second or third, probably.
Yeah, and we noticed that she started going to the bathroom a lot.
Oh, wait, you got to back up. The fucking Applebee's trip.
Oh, well, this is around that time, though. That's within that first week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, within that first week, I kept noticing she kept going in and out of the bathroom a lot. And I was like, and she would come back in, and she'd be like, oh. She like
really zoned
out. I didn't think much of it. I thought, well, you know, who knows? This girl says she's tired all the time, so okay. So then I'm sitting here working one day, and she comes in, and then she says, well, I'm going to go to get something to eat real quick. We have 2 hours between the next show. I said, all right, go grab yourself some. She goes, well, I'm going to go over to Applebee's. I'm like, all right. So the next show started at 6 o'clock. It rolls to around about 5:30.
She was gone at 4, though, wasn't she?
Yeah, she left at about 4. So we're looking about an hour and a half into it. I texted her. I said, the show is going to be on in a half an hour. You know, I'd like to have you here because, you know, you got to start up a show. You can't reverse time. So she's like, oh, okay. And that's all I got for a while. Well, about 10 minutes rolls by, and it's like 20 of now. And I'm like, okay, are you on your way? She texts back, oh, we can't get the car started. She goes through this whole fucking line of this long bit of bullshit, right? About how she was at Applebee's, and I said, well, if you're at the one right over here, I said, I'll just come grab you. No, we're all the way out at the one in Green Valley. I said, why were you the one in Green Valley? Because that's where we bought the coupon from.
Something, yeah. We thought that would.
And we thought we had to go back to that one to use it. I was like, okay, you can't be this fucking stupid.
Yes, you can.
And it was something about they got takeout food.
Yeah, takeout food.
Weirder.
Yeah, and then she's going like she's telling us about how this Mexican guy was going to jump him, and he went to get his jumper cables, and I'm like, oh, okay, he went to get him out of the car. She goes, yeah, so I'll be there in a little bit. I'm like, all right. Then I text her back. I said, well, you're still not here. We're getting close to the top of the hour, and she goes, oh, he had to go home to get him. I said, you just told me, and I was reading his text, is in his car. She goes, well, he thought they were, but they're not. I'm like, okay. So we keep going back and forth. And this whole thing went on for, I don't know how long. Here to find out, the whole thing was, and she was over there making a drug deal over at frickin' Applebee's.
Hooking up on, well, you remember when she came back, we put her on the air. And I started cross-examining her because the shit sounded crazy. And she was like, well, you know, we left the light on in the car. I said, you were only in there 5 minutes to get food. So how the battery is running your battery?
Right.
You know, and she's like, well, what? You know, there was stuff on the floor. And I was like, what does that have to do with putting on the light? Shit just was not, 2 plus 2 was not equaling 4 at that point.
And then, it was what, about 2 days later, we were outside and she was standing out there with me and I said, look, I said, I'm really not that dumb. I said, I may look stupid, but I'm not. I said, you guys are over there doing drugs, weren't you? You're picking up some shit. And she finally fessed up and said her girlfriend was doing it. That was like 2 days later then. She comes in here, and she's getting ready to run the board, and everything's fine. I'm looking at her. I left the room, you know, and I go back in, thumbs up, everything run okay? She's like, yep, thumbs up. Okay, top of the hour comes around. It's a 2-hour show. She goes to the bathroom, comes back in. I go out, like, thumbs up. She's like, yep. Come back in. She's passed out on the fucking...
And Hazmat fell in love with her.
Yeah.
When she stole money from him. That's the second time he left the show when he was totally badge whipped.
And what about the time when he put the baby app on his phone?
Oh, that was the time.
Well, she was pregnant. She got pregnant while she was working here to her ex that she was no longer with. She got together with Hazmat, and to find out, when I talked to her dad said, yeah, he goes, I didn't want to tell you, but she's a waste. All she does is snort Xanax all the time and pass out. Like, yeah, I found that one out.
No fucking shit.
Thanks for giving heads up on that one.
He goes, man, if you want to fire her, go ahead. I'm like, no, I'll give her a chance. And I kept trying to work with her, but I just couldn't.
She never showed up for training.
We'll be back with more stories on the shit that fucking irks me.